Welcome back to Backstage PR, the place where we go beyond the buzz and dwell into the world of communication, credibility, and a little bit of chaos. I'm Virginia, your host for today, and today we're going to talk about just the moment that we all PR professionals have witnessed at least one way or the other. When the emails are ready, the pitch is just perfect, but then comes the anticipation, which can either make your day or just keep you wondering of what went wrong. To understand this roller coaster a bit better, I've been joined by someone who's mastered the balance of professionalism, credibility, and poise in the running world of PR. Ghazala, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Virginia. It's a pleasure to be here and support you with your cause. And thank you for the lovely introduction. Just a disclaimer, I don't think I've perfected my work yet.
Okay.
Just 3 years in the industry, and I think I'm just learning from everybody around me, but I try to do my best with everything I can.
But I must say that you're doing really well in what you're doing. And that's one of the reasons potentially why you were also featured under the PR Faces for 30 Under 30. So people are watching and they're seeing that you're doing really well.
Thank you.
So let's move on with the first segment, the first being the pitch. So as PR professionals, we have seen that, we have the sacred email that we work on that somehow tends to be that one get going step when we prepare our pitches and send to the journalists, right? So according to you, what do you think? Is it more on the relationship that we as PR professionals have with journalists, or is it purely on what we write makes the story deliver to its greatest impact?
I think, according to me, I would say that it purely depends on the story that you're trying to sell. Because when I started out, I was literally a nobody in the PR industry. But with the help of my peers, I was still able to land stories, and it was just based on how do you craft it to the journalist.
Right.
It's how well do you know the journalist and know their work, know what they're looking for. And based on that, if you send them a pitch that you know will catch their attention, it's in. So
Right.
they don't really have to know you in the first get-go. If they like your story, they'll pick it up.
Right. So, just to follow up on that, when you mentioned that you should know what the journalist is writing about, do you also mean to say that we as PR professionals should also do our homework in understanding and knowing what the relevant beats the journalists are covering, regardless of any media they come from?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes without saying that you absolutely have to do your homework when it comes to the journalists and the media that you're pitching to. I think one of my fondest memories was from one of my first agencies that I joined, which was Matrix.
Right.
And I remember having this one pitch that I had sent to quite a few journalists, and we were trying to get the pitch in with just business breakfast.
Okay.
And I think I sent the email like 3 times to him. I'm like, this is your story. And then I tweaked it again. And then I'm like, there's still no pickup. But like, I knew the story, and I'm like, I know this is worthy of business breakfast, but it wasn't getting picked up. So I took it to my manager, Ambika, at that point. And she's like, this is, you need to have these keywords. And that's exactly when the journalist will call you back.
Right.
So she tweaked the email for me. She sent it back. I kid you not, in 2 minutes, the journalist wrote back. I was
2 minutes.
Yeah, like he was really, really quick with it. And I just called her back. I'm like, Ambi, he actually replied. And she's like, yeah, I told you he will. You just have to present it in a way where you know that you've done your homework. And the journalist like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for.
What are those few keywords, if I may ask, or those secret ingredients of the secret email that you would like to share with us, at least with the budding PR professionals who would now want to enter the field, so that they have, I think, a way to start and not to like pave their path out, but at least they know, okay, probably if I have these words, something might click.
I think when writing to any journalist, we try to narrow it down to maybe 3 to 5 bullet points.
Okay.
And in those bullet points, we say exactly why the story is worthy to the journalist and what it covers and why it's different.
Right.
Because more often than not, we hear feedback that it's great, but everybody's doing it. Like things like,
Right.
oh, they're sustainable, but everybody over here is sustainable.
Correct.
So they're like, we're tired of hearing sustainable, leading, because I
These are
heard this.
just the words out there.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I've heard this from a journalist. She's like, if everybody's leading, who's following? You
Oh,
know, because
that's an interesting take.
yeah, you know, you send out a picture and you're like, oh, they're the leading in this business.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 100 others writing the same thing that they're leading in this business.
Right.
So they don't want those fluffy stuff. They just want straight facts, straight stats that you
Mhm.
can give them. And once they see that, yeah, your story has the meat that they need, they'll actually pick it up and come back to
Mhm.
you. So yeah, that's something that I've picked up from my peers and managers at both agencies.
I mean, that's a really interesting takeaway. And truly, if you have a supportive leadership and at least mentors to guide you in your stepping years or your early career on, it really helps you a lot. And I have been myself someone who has been guided by the person that I'm working with. That's Mariva Kulamala, founder of Marivaki Consulting. And at the same time, I think even your background of education that you come from also plays a role in it. Moving on to our next segment, which is the panic. Like, I think we've all been there, right? When, of course, the pitches are great, you send across, but not all of them get through, right? And there are times when probably you don't hear back from the journalist, or you have started off your campaign, but then something blows up literally in the middle of it. So, how do you handle situations when they go off script? And what have your probably key learnings and takeaways been from those situations?
What we do is that we go back, we look
Right.
at what the content is and where we could have gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I think, sorry, even before that, I think I did skip a step, is that
Okay.
after the email, we do actually pick up the phone, call the editors, see if they have
Right.
actual feedback.
Right.
And if they, more often than not, they're like, oh, we'll look at it and we'll come back, which is a no.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
A subtle
okay,
no.
a subtle no, but you know, they don't want to be really
Yeah.
harsh.
Yeah.
So you go back, you look at the content, you just sit down with your team and, you know, you actually see where it can be improved.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the times it's actually worked, you know, like once you go back and you mention it to the client that this has not worked, perhaps if we could add XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
we can improve the content, we'll pitch it back. Things going off the script totally happens if it's an influencer campaign.
Mhm.
I remember an influencer campaign, just actually one of my very first influencer campaigns that I worked on
Mhm.
or was leading it by myself, is I was really proud of it initially when I started, because trust me, we had, I think, 15 influencers locked in for that particular
Wow.
campaign.
Wow.
These were male influencers, which are
Okay.
a tad
But
bit difficult to
yeah,
find in
they
this
are
part of the region.
truly.
And I think 2 weeks ago, no, 2 weeks before the campaign was supposed to go live, or
Mhm.
even less than that,
Mm-hmm.
the client came back and changed the narrative of the campaign. And from those
Wow.
15, 8 of them just said, we're not going to do this.
Oh my god! It's like you remove the spine from the whole body.
Yeah, they're like, we're just changing the messaging to be more with the theme,
Mhm.
but it didn't really work with the influencers.
Mm-hmm.
And that campaign, unfortunately, did not fully pan out. We got limited content from it, but it was a learning that we're like, okay, we'll take it,
Mm-hmm.
and within the same month or next, we will try to do another with the same messaging.
Right.
Like, we'll improve on it. We'll improvise and we'll do it again.
The learnings that you get on the way you're working are some things that usually stick to you, right? And then when with all this chaos, you then see the coverage that somehow tells you that okay, all of this somehow paid in, right? So what's that feeling, or would you like to describe that feeling when people say, oh, you guys got the coverage, it's really great, and somehow underestimate the chaos that goes behind it? What are your comments on that?
I don't think it's a feeling that I can really explain.
Mm-hmm. I
It's
see you
just
smiling. Like, please,
it's literally just a high, especially when it's print coverage.
of
'cause
course, has to be.
You have to wait
Yeah.
till, I don't know, the 15th or the end of the month for it to come out.
Of course.
And the minute you see it, I'm like, wow. I think there was this one art. I think my very first print coverage that I had got was It wasn't my very first actually, but it was the first that I had drafted myself from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
and it went through multiple reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked on it for I think a month, and it got changed and
Wow.
changed and changed and changed and changed. And I pitched it with it. It got picked up online,
Mm-hmm.
and I was happy with it.
Ah, you were like satisfied.
I was
Okay, the
yeah,
work
I
paid
was
off.
satisfied with it. I'm like, okay, it was an Arabian business, so I was like, okay, it's an Arabian business. It's tier one.
Right.
I was really happy. Unexpectedly, I was actually flipping through the pages of Arabian Business print at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the month. And Melvin, at that time, who was my director, he's like, "Isn't that your article?" I'm like, "It
Oh my
is."
God.
I
Wow.
think that feeling of high is just completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even now, when I still get coverage, I'm like, I just look at it and like for 2 minutes, I'm just like, yeah, that's me. Like, I did that.
Yeah.
The only downside is that if you got anything wrong in there,
Oh yes.
there's no changing it.
Yeah. They just have a reason to pick a bone with you. Well, that's truly valid. And just going a bit off script here, when there are conversations around like the print is dying or the digital era is going to take over the print culture. What are your comments on that? Because for me personally, I love like the hardcover of magazines. When you flip through them, not only for your client coverage, but the way the amount of time that's put into building that particular issue. That's time and that's effort and that's somewhere the creativity of our human minds, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Unfortunately, I don't really want print to die.
Yeah.
I do hold it dear to me, but also I'm on the other end. I look at myself, I'm like, I don't really, if I was back home,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really pick up the papers like Khaleej Times and Gulf News and actually flip through the pages. I go onto
Right.
the
The
website and
website,
just
yeah.
scroll.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but on the other side of it, I do flip through magazines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, be it Arabian Business, CEO, Entrepreneur. The magazines for me, when it comes to
The tangibility of that.
the tangibility of that, yeah, I do pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Newspapers, not so much. So I think newspapers are dying.
Yeah.
Magazines,
Somewhere there.
somewhere they do have
Yeah.
life in them because that's a whole different. I know it's print and print,
Yeah.
but magazines still have a completely different feeling to them.
One thing that also somehow you highlighted in your perspective is that uh, when you get that coverage out of surprise, like that it's online, but then probably someone points out, like in your case your director or probably your colleague or your friend saying, isn't this your writing, right? um, what's that feeling like that you have written it, but somehow you knew that it's covered at least on one of the platforms, probably online, and for a minute there's a little bit of a hiccup that okay, why not print, and maybe it wasn't meant, and then you move on, right? But then what's that feeling or that situation like to be in when you're pointed out by your colleagues saying, Gazala, I think this is you. I know you're writing and this is screaming your name. What do you feel during that time?
Um, I think going back to the whole situation, it was just surprise for me
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, when I wrote it for online, I'm like, okay, there's room to go back and edit it.
Right.
For it to be in print, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of trust.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I didn't. Yeah, of course, it was my writing, but it had inputs from all the experts who actually weighed in
Of
and gave
course.
in their expertise,
Mm-hmm.
which is what made it worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I didn't know my writing was so worthy for it to be picked up in print.
Right.
So I think just that validation that comes from it, I know it can be, it's not that great that I seek validation from a magazine. But yeah, just that little, that yeah, it's worthy to be in print just is joyful.
I think more than validation, it's more about that someone sees you or understands and associates you and your writing with being credible.
Yeah.
And that's more or less what this podcast is about, bringing credible voices to the forefront, right? And I think one of the core ethics of journalism is also to be credible and accountable of what you write for, right? So I think somewhere we're doing our due diligence, and probably that's why the people who decide to let our stories out to the masses rely on us for stories, right? And I think that's my cue to go to the third segment, which is the press, where we understand that as PR professionals, we have a lot of responsibility when we're translating a client's stories into a content or a news article or a thought leadership piece and sharing it with the editors on their request. But what are your thoughts and comments on the PR media relationship in today's generation?
That's a tricky one. uh, I think PR need journalists and journalists need PR equally.
Mm-hmm.
But more often than not, it's more of a pull from our side where we're always like, hi, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do that?
Right.
And more often than not, and I understand the media because sometimes they're just like, what you're giving me is fluff. You know,
Mm-hmm. Of course.
there's no story here.
Mm-hmm.
Your client wants to be in the media, so you've just fluffed up a piece and you're trying to get it into the media.
Right.
And on the media's part, what I've heard from them, they're like, we have exactly 8 spaces and your fluff piece does not belong here, when there are other stories out there with actual stats, actual meaning that would add value to consumers that deserve one of these spots.
Right.
So I think more often than not, it's on us as PR professionals to find that balance and educate our clients that, hey, we understand that you want to be in the media, but what do you have to offer
Right.
to the journalist? Because, yeah, we will take the piece from you and we'll try to pitch it,
Mm-hmm.
but the media is going to come back with exactly this.
Mm-hmm.
And they've said it a billion times now. We don't have to, like, hear it again.
Right.
Like, this is going to be the exact feedback that they're going to come back with.
Right.
So I think as long as we respect the journalist's work, their time, their effort, and not give them fluff pieces, you actually build a really good relationship with a lot of them. One of my greatest moment when it comes to a media relying on me was, it was with one of the media where the person who was supposed to be on the front cover, they had to cancel out for some reason, last minute, unforeseen circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
They backed out.
Right.
And the journalist called me and they're like, so this is the situation we're in. We have 48 hours and we need to go and print.
Oh.
They're like, do you have somebody who can, like you want to profile, put them on the front cover? Like, these are the people, this is
That you're looking for.
this is the people we're looking for. These are the requirements. Do you have anybody? I'm like, yeah, I do. And like in that instant, I'm like, can I please push my clients? And I'm like, okay, they don't meet the requirements. So I went to my colleague and I'm like,
do you have someone?
I'm like, I know you have this person, just can you like make it happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think we worked it out. We landed the cover, and when it came in, I still have that copy in my drawer. Every time I open my drawer, the front cover is there. And I'm like, yeah, it happened. So yeah, I think it is a relationship where it's both give and take.
Of course.
You go to them with credible stuff. They start trusting you, you build that relationship, and of course when you need them, they do help you back as well.
Right. I think that's a very interesting and a much needed take, at least in this time and the digital age that we live in. But I also want to understand, how do you have a balance between the transparency and the persuasion as PR professionals? Like, we have to pursue journalists in a way or two and probably sell our stories to them, right? But at the same time, because they're trusting us with our transparency to them, how do you balance that play out?
Yeah, I can't really think of a situation where we had to mold things in a different way for the media to see. It's always been very, okay, when I say transparent, it's always been very clear as to where we're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And we give media the space to say, yeah, no, this does not work with us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that way we don't waste their time and we know what we're getting ourselves into.
Of course.
Persuasion, of course, it is without having to say a lot. We have to pursue them like over and over again. I don't know, it takes a billion calls sometimes. Especially since I moved from tech to lifestyle media, it is a lot of persuasion.
That's the battle that we PR professionals fight every day, right?
It's a lot of phone calls, it's a lot of bugging, it's a lot of, I think this is the spot, and it starts off with, I read your article and I think this one deserves a spot here. What else are you working on? And I know the what else are you working on really bugs the media because they're like, we're working on 8 different stories. What do you mean by what else are you working on?
Yeah.
And
So we understand that part.
yeah, we do understand that part. And sometimes I try not to ask what else are you working on
Mhm.
because if somebody goes like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you want to know? I'm doing like a billion things.
Things at the time. Yeah, of course.
So
That's a very valid
when I
question.
do ask that, it's literally just me at a position where I'm like, where can I fit this one client where I have absolutely just no idea and I'm looking for any single hook.
Mhm.
Like it's just
To
me
twist it out, yeah.
yeah, to just twist it where they're like, oh, they'll say, oh, we're working on this. I'm like,
Mhm.
you know what, that fits. That's exactly what fits my client.
Mhm.
And then I'll just change the story in my head and like this is what we're doing right now with the client. Like, do you
And this is exactly what we have. So yeah.
like I'm so glad you said it. Because
Yeah.
this is exactly what we're working on.
Talking about transparency persuasion, I think one thing that's quite clear is that it's trust and not templates that makes us credible. So, and I think in today's age, it's very important that um, you know what you're talking about, and you really understand that is the other person in the capacity and the bandwidth to one hear that out, and if yes, what is the other way of taking that forward from there. So thanks, Ghazala, for putting this out in such a beautiful ways, and at least our listeners would understand and have in a nutshell that PR is not only press releases, and it's a lot more. I want to know more interesting facts when it comes to you or your takeaways from the whole chaos part. Like we have seen and we just witnessed as well with your conversation that you have been through multiple situations in, I would say, in a difference of different wavelengths. At the same time, one common thing that I could draw on it was the crisis part of it, or the way when things go kind of off script, you know how to put it back on hook and make it work. So how do you do that?
Sometimes before I even react, I take a step back and I'm like, what exactly happened? Like, what went wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Where can I fix it immediately?
Right.
And if there is an immediate fix.
Mm-hmm.
And I take this to my manager and I'm like, listen, this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
This, I think, is the solution.
Right.
Like, would this, and I want their input, like, would this make it worse or would
Mhm.
this make it better?
Okay.
So just having that team support
Mhm.
really helps, and
Right.
taking a step back, understanding the situation and then reacting to it, because at the other end it's always a human.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
It's not like they're evil or they're robots or anything. So you're a human, they're a human.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that a phone call cannot really fix.
True.
And well, if a phone call cannot fix it, then you've really messed it up, and it's fine sometimes to just take a step back and be like, okay, like, let's just wrap it up over here, close it on a good note. Maybe you're in a very small industry, we will collaborate again on something else, and that would be a better experience for it would overwrite this whole scenario that happened.
Right. Yeah. Pick it from somewhere where we're all in a peaceful mindset and a new story and a new page to begin with. I really love that part. I think we're towards the end of our segment, Ghazala. Before wrapping up, there's a 10-second take game which I want to play with you.
Okay.
Which is more on the lines of, so I'll throw some words at you, and the first thing that comes or hits your mind, you're going to tell that to me.
Done.
Right?
Yeah.
And mind you, it's a 10-second thing.
Okay. I will forget the fact that I'm very much sleep deprived and it's like 8 right now. But yeah, go for it.
Amazing. So, what do you think of deadlines?
Very important.
Crisis?
Not needed.
Journalist?
Love them.
Silence?
Silence. I hate it.
Mm-hmm. Reputation?
Very much needed.
Coverage?
Dream.
Calm?
There's never calm anywhere, ever.
Social media?
It's a love-hate relation.
Mm-hmm. Public relations?
Evolving.
Right. I think that brings us to a close for 10-second take, Ghazala. Quite interesting words. And just to say that, we as PR professionals, we also have our instincts that usually work wonders more than strategies. So again, a wonderful wrap to this game. And thank you so much for being a part of Backstage PR and for telling us and letting us into your journey of what the pitch, the panic, and the press was like. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Virginia. It was an amazing segment.
Thank you for having us, and please stay tuned on Backstage PR, where we bring more credible voices from the PR industry to you right here at Metropod Lounge. Thank you so much.